cameras away. Let us see what happened during this White House presentation. We're gonna speed it up just a bit, you know, because I don't. Seems like long.
Thank you very much, everybody.
So
this is a big day, a beautiful day, potentially one of the great days
beautiful day
ever in civilization. Things that have been going on for hundreds of years and thousands of years. We're going to, at least we're at a minimum very, very close, and I think we'll be very close. And I want to thank Bibi for really getting in there and doing a job. We've worked well together, as we have with many other countries, both of us, with many other countries, which is the only way this whole situation gets solved. And I'm not just talking about Gaza. Gaza is one thing, but we're talking about much beyond Gaza. The whole deal, everything getting solved. It's called peace in the Middle East. So today is a historic day for peace, and Prime Minister Netanyahu and I have just concluded an important meeting on many vital issues, including Iran, trade, the expansion of the Abraham Accords, and most importantly, we discussed how to end the war in Gaza, but it's just a part of the bigger picture, which is peace in the Middle East, and let's call it eternal peace in the Middle East. So this is far more than anybody expected, but the level of support that I've had from the nations in the Middle East and surrounding Israel and neighbors of Israel has been incredible, incredible. Every single one of them. This afternoon, after extensive consultation with our friends and partners throughout the region, I'm formally releasing our principles for peace, which people have really liked, I must say. And these are done not just routinely done, these are done with total consideration and working with the nations that we're talking about. All of these nations have made contributions to those suggestions. I want to thank the leaders of many Arab and Muslim nations for their tremendous support in developing the proposal, along with many of our allies in Europe. Europe has been very much involved, and as I was called by many of the European leaders, most of them saying,
one of those.
Is this true?
Later.
Are you really doing peace in the Middle East? This is the most incredible thing we've heard. Some think it's the biggest thing they've ever heard. They called just to find out, was it just a rumor or is it actually done? And then they said, have you spoken to the Arab leaders? Have you spoken to all of the other leaders that we have to get? A lot of people involved in this one. I also want to thank Prime Minister Netanyahu for agreeing to the plan and for trusting that if we work together, we can bring an end to the death and destruction that we've seen for so many years, decades, even centuries, and begin a new chapter of security, peace, and prosperity for the entire region. And I want to just say that my meetings and dialogue that we had with so many countries, Saudi Arabia as an example, the king is a phenomenal person. The Emir of Qatar, he's incredible people. UAE, and that's MBZ and ABZ. We're totally involved. These are the people that we've been dealing with and who've been actually very much involved in this negotiation, giving us ideas, things they can live with, things they can't live with. Pretty complex. I mean, after 2,000, 3,000 years, whatever it is, I guess it's got to be a little complex, or it would have been done a long time ago. The King of Jordan was with us, as you know, in the United Nations. The President of Turkey, President Erdogan, is a friend of mine, a strong man, but a good man. President of Indonesia, somebody who's an amazing leader. Prabowo, he is an amazing leader and respected by everybody. He was in the room with us. We were together with most of these people that I'm mentioning. Others were by phone or the next day. The Prime Minister and the Field Marshal of Pakistan, they were with us right from the beginning. Incredible. In fact, they just put out a statement that they fully believe in this pact. It just came out just as I was walking around. They said, sir, you have a big notice from the Prime Minister of Pakistan and from the Field Marshal that they back this 100%. President El-Sisi of Egypt, who's terrific. And these are people I've gotten to know over the years. I mean, I would say it started around 2015 and then went into 2016 when the presidency officially began. But I've known them actually for a long time, and they're in many cases really great men. I can't say in all cases, but I will tell you in many cases they're great men and some great women too. They tend to be mostly men, however, I will say that. But if accepted by Hamas, this proposal calls for the release of all remaining hostages immediately, but in no case more than 72 hours. So the hostages are coming back, and I hate even saying this from the standpoint, doesn't sound right, but it is so important to the parents. The bodies of The young men, I believe in almost all cases, the young men are coming back immediately. I met with parents. Their parents felt as strongly about getting the body of their dead boy back as they did as though the boy were alive and well.
Basically asking Hamas to
It's so important
release
to them.
all
And it means
hostages,
the immediate
deceased
end
and
to the war
alive.
itself, not just Gaza.
Because obviously there
It's the war
were
itself.
some people
Under the plan, Arab and
deceased in
Muslim
their care.
countries have committed. And in
Basically,
writing, in
under
many
their
cases,
care
but I
for
actually
about,
would
what,
take their word
3
for it. The
years,
people I
there
mentioned, I'll
have
take their word for it.
been, right,
To
hostages
demilitarize
who have
Gaza,
perished for
and
some
that's
reason.
quickly.
And they haven't given
Decommission
us
the
any
military capabilities of
modicum of
Hamas
evidence of
and all
what
other terror
happened or anything.
organizations. Do that immediately.
So it's like, that's super
And we're relying
suspicious
on
as
the
fuck.
countries
right?
that I named and others to deal with Hamas. And I'm hearing that Hamas wants to get this done too, and that's a good thing. And destroy all terror infrastructure, including the tunnels, weapons, production facilities. They have a lot of production facilities that we're destroying. They'll also help train local police forces in the areas that we're discussing right now, in particular in and around Gaza, working with the new transitional authority in Gaza. All parties will agree on a timeline for Israeli forces to withdraw in phases. They'll be withdrawing in phases. No more shooting, hopefully, as progress is made toward achieving these goals. Arab and Muslim nations need to be allowed the chance to fulfill these commitments of dealing with Hamas. They have to deal with them because they were the one group that we have not dealt with. I haven't dealt with them. But the Arab countries are going to, and Muslim countries are going to be dealing with Hamas, and I believe they've already been there. I think they probably have an understanding, and they haven't maybe mentioned that, but I would imagine they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone as far as they've gone. If they're unable to do so, then Israel would have the absolute right, and actually our full backing, the U.S. full backing. Marco's here, and a lot of our leaders are here, our great Vice President, Susie Wiles, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. They've been so involved in this.
If these
this
Arab
process. I don't think
Muslim
anybody else could have
nations
done it,
don't
even-
do something
even
basic,
come
not
close,
just
but it's,
Hamas, but
we're
if they
right
don't
there.
do
We're
anything
right there,
about
first
these
time in
terroristic motherfuckers, right?
thousands
All
of
these
years, I
terrorist
think.
cell
You can probably say
motherfuckers
if
who
you
are
really
in their
look into it,
countries
if you study back,
causing
because you're a
them
scholar,
issues and shit,
you would say thousands
right?
of years.
And causing,
Israel
right, border
would
disputes
have my
and
full
shit like
backing to
that.
finish
Well,
the
I mean,
job
Israel's gonna
of
fucking do something
destroying
themselves,
the
right?
threat
Right, if
of
they
Hamas,
won't, if
but
they
I
won't
hope
take
that
charge and
we're gonna
like
have a deal for
stopping these
peace.
people from causing
And
problems,
if
Israel's
Hamas
gonna
rejects
fucking
the
do
deal,
it
which is always
themselves.
possible, they're the only one left.
Because
Everyone
they're
else
not
has
gonna just
accepted it.
fucking take that shit,
But
obviously.
I have a feeling that
They have
we're
their
gonna
own
a positive
fucking
answer.
sovereign country,
But
right?
if
A
not,
sovereign
as you know,
people
BB,
to,
you'd
right,
have our full
country to
backing to do what you
save.
would have to
And
do.
they're not gonna allow some
Everyone
fucking
understands that
weirdos
the
to
ultimate
keep
result
fucking
must be the
trying to kill
elimination
them.
of any danger posed in the region, and the danger is caused by Hamas. The tyranny of terror has to end, and this is, again, something that we're looking for. This is eternity. This is for forever. To ensure the success of this effort, my plan calls for the creation of a new international oversight body, the Board of Peace, we call it, the Board of Peace, sort of a beautiful name, the Board of Peace, which will be headed, not at my request, believe me, I'm very busy, but we have to make sure this works. The leaders of the Arab world and Israel and everybody involved asked me to do this, so it would be headed by
Basically,
gentleman
they
known as
I
President
guess
Donald
they
J.
asked
Trump of the
Trump
United
to make
States.
a
That's what I
new
want, this-
organization for
some extra
reason.
work to do, but
Call it the Board
it's so
of
important
Peace.
that I'm willing to do it. And
Basically,
we'll do it
it's
right.
going to
We're gonna put
have
leaders
right
from other countries
certain
on,
nation
leaders that are very
countries in it,
distinguished leaders.
or certain
And we'll
country
have a board, and
leaders
one of the people
involved,
that
or
wants to be on the
their
board is the UK former Prime Minister
emissaries,
Tony Blair, good man,
or
very good man,
ambassadors, right?
and some others,
Something like that.
and they'll be named over the next few days, and it'll be quite the board. Working, everybody wants to be on it now.
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if
So
that had
they're
anything
going
to
to
do.
elect ambassadors.
They
yeah.
named me, and
so they're
everybody
going
else
to
wanted
elect
be on
some
it. I guess
ambassadors.
they figure,
or
well, he's a
some
soft touch. He'll be easy to deal with. Working with the World Bank and others, it will be responsible for recruiting and training a new government that will be made up of Palestinians along with highly qualified experts from all around the world. Hamas and other terrorist factions will play no role in the board, but they'll play no role in the governance of Gaza at all, directly.
So
or indirectly. As
basically,
you know,
this board of
thousands of
peace,
Hamas
they will be
leaders
handling,
have been
I guess,
killed
the
and soldiers
Gaza
have been killed.
right
we can never
rebuilding
forget
plan
October
in a
7th, but
sense, right?
Thousands have,
Is
paid
what
the
it
price for
sounds
that.
like.
and now it's time to
Hard
get
to
our
say.
hostages back
Because
and
this
get back to
is something new, right? This is just
trying to build
they
something
brought
that's
up.
really great and very important. In our meeting today, Prime Minister Netanyahu was very clear about his opposition to a Palestinian state. And he continuously mentions October 7th, and I understand that. Most people do. And I understand and respect his position on many things, but what he's doing today is so good for Israel. I notice that they have large crowds gathering in Israel all the time, and they have my name up. They like me for whatever reason, Bibi, I don't know, but they do like me. But they say two things. Please get the hostages back and please end the war. They've had it. It's had it. So I think it's a very popular thing you do because he's a warrior. He doesn't know about getting back to a normal way of life, but he is a warrior, and Israel's lucky to have him. But now the people want to get back to peace. They want to get back to normalization in a true sense. Several countries have foolishly recognized the Palestinian state. As you know, some of our European friends, allies, good people, but they're really, I think, doing that because they're very tired of what's going on for so many decades. They've been presidents and prime ministers
Yeah, I
for years,
mean,
and
no
during
one.
this time,
Everybody
having to do with
wants
the Middle East, all they're doing is talking about the same thing over and over. They want to see it get
I don't
back.
know. I
And
don't
nobody
know
wants-
to
wants
what
that more
extent
than
that
me
has
or I believe
anything to
Bibi
do
too.
with the
But the
Palestine.
people of Israel want it.
I mean, you
They
people
really
keep
want it. They want
saying,
the
"Oh,
hostages back.
Palestinian state."
That
What about
includes the
Israel
Probably
state?
32 bodies that we're talking about. 20 people that are living.
Do they not get
32
to
or so
live
people
too?
that are dead.
You guys fucking.
And
You
they
guys
wanna
are
have
causing
peace.
shit to each other.
So let us not forget how we got here. Hamas
What's
was
the point?
elected by the Palestinian people. Israel withdrew from Gaza thinking they would live in peace. Remember that a long time ago, they withdrew. They said, you take it. This is our contribution to peace. But that didn't work out. That didn't work out. It was the opposite of peace. They pulled away. They let them have it. And I never forgot that because I said, that doesn't sound like a good deal to me. As a real estate person, I mean, they gave up the ocean, right? Ron, they gave up the ocean. They said, who would do this deal? And it still didn't work out. They were very generous, actually. And they gave up the most magnificent piece of land in many ways in the Middle East. And they said, all we want to do now is have peace. And that request was not honored. Instead of building a better life for the Palestinians, Hamas diverted resources to build over 400 miles of tunnels and terror infrastructure, rocket production facilities, and hid their military command posts and launch sites.
Oh yeah,
in
there's a
hospitals,
bunch of
schools, and
terror
mosques. So if you went
tunnels
after them,
that they use to
you'd be after them,
basically
and you
do
wouldn't even
like
realize you ended
guerrilla
up knocking down
warfare
a
shit.
hospital or school or a mosque. That terrible thing, terrible way to have to fight.
I
No
mean,
fight
it's
is
almost
good,
like
but that's a
they're
real bad
doing
one.
like trench
So there are
warfare
many
in a
Palestinians
sense,
who
right?
wish
Because there's
to
just
live in
tons
peace.
and
Many,
tons
many
of fucking
many, I've
tunnels.
seen so many of them, and they have support. And I challenge the Palestinians to take responsibility for their destiny, because that's what we're giving them. We're giving them responsibility for their destiny, fully condemn and prohibit terrorism and earn their way to a brighter future. They don't want the life that they've had. They've had a rough life with Hamas. If the Palestinian Authority does not complete the reforms that I laid out in my vision for peace in 2020, they'll have only themselves to blame. We're giving them an amazing footprint, and they have amazing support from the leaders of the Arab world and the Muslim world, the great leaders. These are great leaders. These are unbelievable leaders that have built great countries and very wealthy countries. What the future holds for the Palestinians, no one really knows, but the plan that we put forward today is focused on ending the war immediately, getting all of our hostages back, getting everything back. Hard to believe when you even say it, and creating conditions for durable Israeli security and Palestinian success. Israeli security is going to be involved. We're going to help you. We'll be there with you in terms of helping with security. We want to make sure it works. We just want to make sure it works. There shouldn't be a shot fired. Now, there will be, I guess, because that's the way it seems to be, but there shouldn't have to be within a few days. There shouldn't have to be a shot fired. Maybe for eternity. Wouldn't that be nice? I hope it's true. I can tell you the leadership of that region feels that there's a good chance of it being true. So this will lead to this agreement that we're talking about will lead to a sustainable long-term peace. No president in history has been a greater friend of the state of Israel than I have, in addition to negotiating the
Let us continue where we
same
left
thing
off.
over and over. They want to see it get back. And nobody wants that more than me, or I believe Bibi too. But the people of Israel want it. They really want it. They want the hostages back. That includes the probably 32 bodies that we're talking about, 20 people that are living, 32 or so people that are dead. And
Sorry,
they
I
wanna
kind of
have peace.
rewinded a little bit.
So let us not forget how we got here. Hamas was elected by the Palestinian people. Israel withdrew from Gaza thinking they would live in peace. Remember that a long time ago, they withdrew. They said, you take it. This is our contribution to peace. But that didn't work out. That didn't work out. It was the opposite of peace. They pulled away. They let them have it. And I never forgot that because I said, that doesn't sound like a good deal to me. As a real estate person, I mean, they gave up the ocean, right? Ron, they gave up the ocean. They said, who would do this deal? And it still didn't work out. They were very generous, actually. And they gave up the most magnificent piece of land in many ways in the Middle East. And they said, all we want to do now is have peace. And that request was not honored. Instead of building a better life for the Palestinians, Hamas diverted resources to build over 400 miles of tunnels and terror infrastructure, rocket production facilities, and hid their military command posts and launch sites in hospitals, schools, and mosques. So if you went after them, you'd be after them, and you wouldn't even realize you ended up knocking out a hospital or school or a mosque. A terrible thing, terrible way to have to fight. No fight is good, but that's a real bad one. So there are many Palestinians who wish to live in peace. Many. I've seen so many of them, and they have support. And I challenge the Palestinians to take responsibility for their destiny, because that's what we're giving them. We're giving them responsibility for their destiny. Fully condemn and prohibit terrorism and earn their way to a brighter future.
Hey, man,
they don't
you
want
can still make a lot of
the
money
life
from
that they've
Pokemon
had. They've
cards.
had a rough life with Hamas.
There's still a lot of people who like
If the
Pokemon
Palestinian
cards
Authority
and all
does
that
not
stuff.
complete the reforms that I laid out in my vision for peace in 2020, they'll have only themselves to blame. We're giving them an
Just gotta
amazing
find the
footprint,
right
and they have
card.
amazing support
Same
from
with
the leaders
the
of the Arab
baseball,
world and the Muslim
same
world.
thing.
Great leaders. These
NFL.
are great leaders. These are
Any
unbelievable
basically
leaders
a
that
lot
have
of
built
sports
great
card,
countries
right? A lot
and
of
very wealthy countries.
old timers
What
love
the future
them
holds
sports
for the
cards.
Palestinians, no one really knows, but the
there's
plan
a
that
lot
we
of
put
people
forward
who love
today is focused on
collections.
ending the war immediately,
Sorry.
getting all of our hostages
the
back,
side thing. I'm
getting
sorry.
everything back. Hard to believe when you even say it. And creating conditions for durable Israeli security and Palestinian success. Israeli security is going to be involved. We're going to help you. We'll be
So
there
it
with
seems
you
like
in
they're
terms of
so
helping with
Garrett.
security. We want to make sure it
so
works. We just want to make sure it works. There shouldn't be a shot fired. Now, there will be, I guess,
security
because that's the way it seems to be. But
Gaza
they shouldn't have to be within a few days. They shouldn't have to be a shot fired.
on the
Maybe for
rebuilding
eternity. Wouldn't that be nice?
and
I hope it's
the
true.
peace
I can tell you the leadership of that region feels
keeping.
that there's a good chance of it being true. So this will lead to this agreement that we're talking about will lead to a sustainable, long-term peace. No president in history has been a greater friend of the state of Israel than I have, in addition to negotiating the Abraham Accords. I like to say it that way because the real people, that's what they call Abraham. I would say Abraham, but it's so much nicer when you say Abraham. So much more
What
elegant.
about Moses? You're gonna
But
bring
the
back
Abraham
Moses?
Accords are amazing. Jared, you did that along with your group of geniuses, and nobody thought that could be done. We have 4 countries, and Sleepy Joe Biden didn't do a thing. He didn't even know what the hell they were.
Sleepy.
He should have had them fold up. But I think this will also lead to
There it is.
packing
He had to
them.
drop the
And who knows,
Sleepy
maybe even
Joe.
Iran can get in there. I hope. We hope we're going to be able to get along with Iran. I think they're going to be open to it. I really believe that. But they could be a member. I long ago said, I'll bet you at some point Iran will be a member of the Accords. And little did I realize it was going to take this turn. That was some turn we did with the B-2s. But I think they might very well be there. It's a great thing for them.
Jesus.
Economically, I recognize the eternal capital of Israel. I opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. That was something that everyone said would never be done, could never be done. Virtually every president for many years, for decades,
I thought we
would
were
campaign
gonna be
on
friends. What
making
happened?
Jerusalem the
You
capital of
made
Israel.
me
They
drop
campaigned-
the
they campaigned
B2
on it
on you,
over and over.
boys.
Is that right,
Why,
Steve? Is that
Ron?
right?
Why
Everyone,
did
when
you
they got to it,
run?
and I understand why now, because
Why did you
it
ran?
was so-
huh?
when
It
I got to
ran,
office,
it
I campaigned
ran,
on
it
it too. I
ran.
said, we're going to make it. And then I'd get calls from the leaders of various countries saying, please don't do it, please don't do it. It'll end the whole world, please don't do it. And finally, I just didn't say anything, and I did it. People were calling me before I did it because I heard I was going to do it, and leaders of countries were calling me, and I think it was on a Thursday that I did it, and they'd call me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3-4 times a day, and I said, tell them I'll call them back on Friday. And I announced it on Thursday, and I called them back, the biggest people in the world, and they said, you've done it. I said, done what? You've made the capital of Israel, Jerusalem, and we wanted to talk yet. I wish you called me a little sooner. Maybe I could have done something about it. So that was a lot easier than getting into an argument,
Wait, what?
because I knew what they were calling about. And you know what? It turned out to be amazing.
Wait, why do
Everybody
they
thought it
care
was gonna
about
lead to
us?
The end of the world, right? The end of
what?
the world, Ron. That's
I'm
what
confused.
they said.
Why?
They
Why do other countries care for us about what they name their capital? What? I'm confused. You're your own sovereign country. You should You should pick that yourself. What?
Anything.
I
It
was-
just led to
what?
something that I promised and something that was very, very popular for
And then you tell the U.S.
Jewish
okay.
people and a lot of
Is
other people
Is that
too.
your capital? All right.
I recognize Israeli sovereignty over
What?
the Golan Heights, and I cut taxpayer funding
not-
to the corrupt
what? I'm
United Nations
confused.
Relief and Works Agency. And the United Nations was interesting because, as you know, a few days ago they introduced me, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. I'm looking at my teleprompter, and the thing was dead, stone cold, dead.
I was talking
Things up
about the
here. I have a
UN.
long,
shit.
beautiful speech to make. I'm back
Oh,
30 feet back, and I'm saying, they're introducing me. There's nothing on my teleprompter. So, but I made a speech. I actually got good marks. You think Biden could have done that? I don't think so. I don't think he could have done that. I don't think too many people could have done it. But actually, it was actually more of a speech from my heart, if you want to know the truth. I think it was maybe better in certain ways because it was from the heart. It has to be from the heart, otherwise you're in big trouble. But I cut taxpayer funding for that very corrupt United Nations Relief and Works Agency, and nobody thought that would be done, and withdrew from the horrible Iran nuclear deal that was imposed upon Israel by Barack Hussein Obama and
Barack
Biden.
Hussein Obama.
And I don't think Biden knew anything about it, though. I don't think he knows anything about it now, actually, if you ask him. So it is that. And we obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity, making it impossible
Yeah,
for
I
them to
mean,
have a
just
nuclear
look
weapon,
at
which they
just
would
look
have
at
had
what
probably in
happened
about 2
to
months from that.
fucking George
But I've
W.
never
Bush.
asked Israel to compromise
Motherfucker
its
can't
security,
get
but we had
weapons of mass
big, strong
destruction
talk.
out of his
Nobody's been
mind
better to
anymore.
Israel. No president's been better to Israel than Donald
Ever
Trump.
since that
But
time, right?
we had a long, strong talk, Bibi and I, and he understands it's time. It's time. History has shown. And the people of Israel want it. And the people of the Middle East want it. The people of enemies of Israel want it. But they don't have really too many enemies right now. And you know what? Many countries have gained great respect for Israel, for the way they fight, for the job they do, including me. I had respect anyway, but they gained respect. History has shown us that those who have relations with Israel have thrived, while those who have devoted resources and attention toward the destruction and even annihilation of Israel have languished. They haven't done well. Israel is not going anywhere. They're going to coexist with other people and countries in the region, from Syria to Lebanon to Saudi Arabia. The promise of a new Middle East is so clearly within our reach. This is the closest we've ever come to real peace, not fake peace, not political fool's peace. If we can get this difficult problem solved, the opportunities for all within that vast region of this world, it's a vast region, it's unlimited. The Abraham Accords show that all countries are better off when they communicate and work together and embrace new opportunities. I hope Jared and Steve and Susie and Marco and JD, we have great people. I hope you guys are going to work very hard to get these other countries in, because now they have no excuse. There's no longer an excuse. They were somewhere hesitant. And I tell you, the 4 countries that went in, I give them tremendous credit, and it's worked out incredibly well for them. In the same spirit, I'm pleased to report that earlier today, we took another important step toward greater understanding in the region. A short time ago, we had a historic phone call in the Oval Office with Prime Minister Ghani, who's really a great person. So we had a great talk, and I was on the phone, and Bibi was talking. Prime Minister Al Thani was of Qatar. They really had a heart-to-heart conversation. It was a great conversation, I thought. It was productive. It was everything that you need to have something turn out to be successful. And I want to thank Bibi, and I want to thank the Prime Minister. It was fantastic. We agreed to launch a formal trilateral mechanism between Israel, Qatar, and the United States to begin a dialogue to enhance mutual security, correct misperceptions, and avoid future misgivings. And I want to thank Qatar, its leadership, and the Emir. He's a fantastic person. I think, I'm going to be his public relations man because I know him differently than a lot of people know him. But he wants peace. He wants to see peace. And his people, and they really acknowledge the critical role that they played as mediator. And again, we're not quite finished. We have to get Hamas, but I think they're going to be able to do that. So now it's time for Hamas to accept the terms of the plan that we've put forward today. And again, this is a different Hamas than we were dealing with, because I guess over 20,000 have been killed. Their leadership has been killed 3 times over. So you're really dealing with different people than we've been dealing with over the last 4 years, 5 years. Everyone has done their part and come to the table in good faith. Our Arab and Muslim partners are fully prepared to step up and fulfill their commitments for the
a lot of
the people of Gaza.
yeah,
and
don't forget,
the entire
a lot
region.
of the
They're willing to
leaders
step up
that,
and do
that
a lot.
were
They really
the
are. There are a lot of good people
warmongers,
involved.
pretty much, have
Everyone wants
pretty
to
much
see
died
everybody
off.
who wants to see an end to the violence and destruction
Maybe
should be
there
united
might
in
be
calling
some
for
who are
Hamas to
still
accept the
warmongers
extremely
within their
fair
ranks, but
proposal. so that we can end
we
the
don't
war
know
and
exactly,
get us back
but
our
yeah, we'll
hostages
see.
right now and have everlasting peace. And I look forward to having relationships with everyone. As the chairman of the board, I'll be involved, and we'll have meetings with some very smart people that'll be working over there to make sure that we haven't just been wasting time with an agreement that doesn't get done. The task of building peace will not be easy. There's some of the hardest problems in the world to solve, and that's why it's been going on for so many centuries. But too many lives are at stake not to try, and this was more than a try. I mean, I think this is something that gets done when you have virtually every country, and these are powerful, powerful countries that have a lot of money, and the money can make things happen. A lot of countries try, and they don't have any money. These are very rich countries that can make things happen. So together we'll forge a much safer and more hopeful future for everybody, including Israel. And I want to thank Prime Minister Netanyahu for his partnership, and I want to thank all of the leaders, the kings and the emirs and the presidents and prime ministers, people I've mentioned. And they've been absolutely fantastic to work with, and it's just happened very quickly. It's happened from a couple of weeks before I had a couple of meetings, but a couple of weeks before we went to the United Nations, and we had some incredible meetings. It all came to place. It all took place, and everybody wanted to be a part of it. I don't have anybody that's saying we don't want anything to do with it. It's just the opposite. And I'll tell you, a year ago, I don't think we would have had this kind of participation, Mr. VP, right? I don't think we would have had. It's been amazing. The participation was 100%. Everybody wants to be a part of it, and everybody, those very strong countries,
So,
everybody wants it to work. So,
I mean,
Bibi,
from what
congratulations
President Trump
on
is
this.
saying,
I think
people want
this will
to be inside
your
the Abraham
crowning achievement. Trying to
Abraham
make this all
Accords.
works out. We think it will. It's going to be your crowning achievement, and I want to thank you very much for being here.
or
Thank you,
at
please.
least who
Thank you.
who seem to be wanting peace.
Mr.
I don't know who.
First, I want to thank you for graciously hosting me once again in the White House. And second, I want to thank you for your friendship and for your leadership.
Okay, here we have Netanyahu.
From Jerusalem to Tehran, from the Golan Heights to Gaza, you've proven time and again what I've said many times. You are the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House. And Mr. President, you and I both know it's not even close. While you focus at home
Netanyahu's
on making
the
America
fucking-
great again, your leadership abroad
Gas and
is changing the world for the better,
Trump.
ending wars and advancing peace. I believe that today we're taking a critical step towards both ending the war in Gaza and setting the stage for dramatically advancing peace in the Middle East, and I think beyond the Middle East, in very important Muslim countries. I support your plan to end the war in Gaza, which achieves our war aims. It will bring back to Israel all our hostages, dismantle Hamas's military capabilities, end its political rule, and ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel. All our hostages, dismantle Hamas's military capabilities.
So right there, right? Right, what Netanyahu wants. All hostages freed. Hamas, the terrorists. Group to be dismantled, never to be made again. Throw down.
End its political rule and ensure that
Arms and pull. Okay.
Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
Okay, and I get makes a statement, right, on never, right, in assaulting or causing war, causing conflict. Yes. Again.
we would not have achieved this turning point without the courage and sacrifice of our incredibly brave soldiers. They fight like lions to defend the people of Israel, and they serve on the front line in the war between civilization and barbarism. Mr. President, when our two countries stand shoulder to shoulder, we achieve the impossible. Just a few months ago, in Operation Rising Lion and Operation Midnight Hammer, we struck a decisive blow against Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program. Your bold decision to send those B-2s made the region safer and the world safer. Now, under your leadership,
So he's
taking
just
the next
thanking
step
Trump again,
to
right,
win the
for
war.
helping.
and expand the peace. Your plan is consistent with the 5 principles my government set for the end of the war and the day after Hamas. Everybody asks, what is your plan for the day after Hamas? Here's our plan. Passed it in the cabinet. All our hostages, both those who are alive and those who died, all of them will return home immediately.
So
Hamas will be
basically, it'll
disarmed.
be a trade-off, right?
Gaza
When
will be
everything
demilitarized.
is all said and done,
Israel will
everyone
retain
will
security
trade
responsibility,
hostages, prisoners of
including a security
war, yada
perimeter
yada yada.
for the foreseeable future.
They just want to
And lastly,
demilitarize
Gaza will have a peaceful
Hamas.
civilian administration that is run neither by Hamas nor by the Palestinian Authority. If Hamas agrees to your plan, Mr. President, the first step will be a modest withdrawal, followed by the release of all our hostages within 72 hours. The next step will be the establishment of an international body charged with fully disarming Hamas and demilitarizing Gaza. I appreciate your willingness to lead the body, Mr. President. I really appreciate it because you have a lot of things to do, and this is important. And it reflects the confidence that this will give everyone, that things will be followed up on all the commitments made. The fact that you're taking this on, I think, helps a lot to make sure that everything flows in the direction that we want. Now, if this international body succeeds, we will have permanently ended the war. Israel will conduct further withdrawals linked to the extent of disarmament and demilitarization, but will remain in the security perimeter for the foreseeable future. I think we should understand that we're giving everybody a chance to have this done peacefully, something that will achieve all our war objectives without any further bloodshed. But if Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, or if they supposedly accept it and then basically do everything to counter it, then Israel will finish the job by itself. This can be done the easy way, or it can be done the hard way, but it will be done. We
So
prefer the
basically,
easy
this
way,
is
but it
this,
has to be
thi-
done. All these
So
goals must
their
be
statement
achieved
right now
because
is
we didn't fight
the easy
this horrible
way. The
fight,
hard way would be
sacrifice
to
the finest of our
effectively
young
going
men.
in and
to
start
have Hamas stay in Gaza
raising hell.
and threaten us again and again and again with these horrific massacres. Mr. President, I was encouraged by your clear statement at the UN against the recognition of a Palestinian state. That would be an outcome that, after October 7th,
So
would reward
right,
terror,
they have
undermine
drawn
security,
clear
and
lines
endanger
what they
Israel's
want.
very
Right,
existence.
everyone's
As for the Palestinian Authority,
making their,
I appreciate your firm position
I guess
that
their.
the PA can have no role whatsoever in Gaza without undergoing a radical and genuine transformation. In your 2020 peace
Their
plan,
wants,
that you
need,
mentioned
or
just now,
desires needed,
you
I
made
guess,
clear what that transformation
or
requires.
talked about.
It's not lip service. It's not checking a box. It's a fundamental, genuine, and enduring transformation. And that means ending pay to slay, changing the poisonous textbooks that teach hatred to Jews, to Palestinian children, stopping incitement in the media, ending lawfare against Israel at the ICC and the ICJ, recognizing the Jewish state, and many other reforms. It won't come as a surprise to you that the vast majority of Israelis have no faith that the PA Leopard will change its spots. But rather than wait for this miraculous transformation, your plan provides a practical and realistic path forward for Gaza in the coming years, in which Gaza will be administered neither by Hamas nor the Palestinian Authority, but by those committed to a genuine peace with Israel. I think this can be not only a new beginning for Gaza, I think it can be a new beginning for the entire region. Under your leadership, we can re-energize, well, I've got to contribute my own, we can re-energize the Abraham Accords. That's what it's called in the original Hebrew. Abraham. Abraham is fine. Abraham, however you want to call it. Under your leadership, Mr. President, we can re-energize the Abraham Accords that we forged 5 years ago. We can expand them to many more Arab and Muslim nations that choose moderation over extremism. I think there's an opportunity here. It's not going to be easy. It's tough going. But I think if we succeed, you're absolutely right. We're going to open possibilities that nobody even dreamed of. But I think we dream of them. As you've told me, Mr. President, and you've told the world many, many times, you said, remember October 7th. Remember October 7th. And we do. We will never forget the horrors of October 7th, and we will do whatever is necessary to make sure they don't happen again. Since October 7th, Israel's enemies have learned a hard truth. Those who attack us pay a heavy price, but those who partner with us advance progress and security for their peoples. President Trump just said it. It's also in the Bible. It says, those who will bless you will be blessed, and those who will curse you will be cursed. And that's actually what is happening. We want the blessings. I think we've done a lot in the past 2 years to end the curse. We're not finished, but we've done a lot. And we've done a lot together to end the curse. I want to thank your entire team for their efforts to get to this point. I especially want to thank Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner for their indefatigable work to bring Israel and Arab states in the region closer together. I am deeply grateful to both of them for their work. We had a phone call today just to make it clear. I said to the Prime Minister of Qatar, Israel was targeting terrorists, wasn't targeting Qatar. And of course, we regretted the loss of the Qatari citizen, wasn't our target. And I very much appreciate President Trump's proposal to have a trilateral body, the United States, Israel, and Qatar, to work out respective grievances. There are quite a few. But if we could try to mitigate them or put it on a different footing, I think that would be good for everyone. Above all the people, the fine team, and many helpers who've done this, I want to thank you, Mr. President. History has already shown that under your leadership, Israel and America can change the face of the Middle East. And today I'm hopeful that your plan to end the war in Gaza will do so again and do so soon. It will free our hostages, end Hamas's tyranny in Gaza, and enable a more secure and prosperous future for the peoples of our region. Thank you, Mr. President. May God bless America. May God bless Israel. May God bless the indispensable alliance between our countries. And may I add in Hebrew, G'mal Chatima Tova, may we all be inscribed in the book of life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bibi. So I think while we wait for these documents to be signed and get everybody in line, I think it maybe is not really appropriate to take questions. I'm meeting with, as you know, a couple of Democrats in a little while about the country, about keeping our country open. They're going to have to do some things because their ideas are not very good ones. They're very bad for our country. So we'll see how that works out. But this is something that was really historic today. This was something that was amazing. I think,
Unfortunately, no
depending on you, I think while we're waiting for signatures and waiting for approvals from a lot of different countries that are involved in this, we probably shouldn't take questions? Or would you like to take a question or two from perhaps a friendly Israeli reporter? If this is
maybe we get a question or two?
That's a very, very tough proposition. But I would think, Mr. President, that I would go by your instinct that this is... we'll have enough time for questions. Let's settle the issue first, I think. No.
Thank you very much.
There it is. So they will not be taking questions. There you have it. There is the speech from or the conference with Prime Minister Netanyahu and Mr. President Trump. Sorry, Mr. Prime Minister Netanyahu and Mr. President Trump. Sorry, why did I put Mr. in front of Trump only? I'm sorry, it was fucking my bad. Anyways, there you have it. Yeah, so here's the rundown of basically what they said. Or what they talked about. The investments from Saudi Arabia and the countries around them, apparently they have been in talks. Abraham Accords trying to bring them all together around those countries. Hamas releases all hostages. Well, this is their proposition, right? To release all hostages, alive and the deceased ones. The Arab and Muslim countries is tasked to deal with Hamas. If not, Israel will do something, right? They're trying to set up they're going to set up a new international body of board and peace. So I guess it's going to basically be all the surrounding countries, plus the U.S., right, and basically all the people involved in basically the Abraham Accords as well, I would assume. The board will make a rebuilding plan for Gaza. That's what it seemed like. It seems like they're going to be the committee that oversees all that stuff, I guess. There's not much information, right, because it's they just talked about it. Security for Gaza, right, on the whole rebuilding and then the peacekeeping when all this is going down. Trump talked about Sleepy Joe. Okay, as usual, got to talk about how Sleepy Joe did a bad job. Bad job. Very bad Sleepy Joe. Very cancer patient of him. And then we had he talked a little about his UN conference and how he disliked what happened a little bit there, and right, he had to go off topic a little bit because he didn't have the teleprompter, right? They talked about a little bit, right, is coexistence in sight, right, especially with all the things happening. The Trilat meeting with their planning is Qatar, Israel, U.S., right, because they're the ones facilitating. Well, that whole area has been in conflict with each other, right? So they will be doing something about that. And then Netanyahu speaking, or Qatar is going to be housing the talks because Qatar is more in talks with Iran and, right, Hamas and Palestine and all that, right? Anyways, basically Qatar is acting as the middleman for the other countries. Thanks President Trump with all the support. So yeah, and then Netanyahu speaks. He thanks President Trump. He supports the plan to end the war in Gaza, right? And then Netanyahu talked about his 20-step plan or whatever, or his process to fix Gaza. And President Trump's plan also basically is within the framework of what Netanyahu wanted to. So basically it works out in a sense. All hostages freed, Hamas terrorist cell group dismantled, thrown down arms, right? And the political rule dismantled, right? Makes a statement on never assaulting or causing conflict again with Israel. Hamas demilitarized, right? So basically, if they agree to everything, right? If everything goes as normal, right? Hamas is demilitarized. Basically everything, right? If everything goes as planned, then Netanyahu will also release all the POWs, right? And hostages that he has in his care, right? Because obviously when there's war, there's obviously prisoners of war that happens because of conflict arising, right? And then you got basically the trade-off hopefully will take 72 hours, right, for preparation and the completion of everything, right, for the swapping and trading, and hopefully everything goes as planned, it seems. From what from what they want, right? If everything goes as planned, right, it will only take 72 hours to facilitate, right, trying to get everyone together and then, right, trying to release the hostages and everything, right? They want the Palestinian Authority, right, to take hold of their sovereignty, right, and basically exile Hamas or to do something, right? Because they want the Palestinian people to rule their own country. Obviously, they want them to make a decision. They want them to be their own sovereign country. Right? They want them to do something, obviously, because they're not doing anything right now. And then October 7th brought up, and the horrors and what they had to go through and blah blah blah. And then thankful for the help from Qatar and US. Right, and then overall trying to end the war in Gaza. So yeah, that's the overall thing that basically happened in these in the White House conference. If you want to see more White House stuff, right, check out their YouTubes. There's obviously they obviously have a rapid response that they have on Twitter. Also White House, they have a Twitter as well. They post stuff on there too. So yeah, there's a lot of sources you can obviously get to figure out what the White House is doing or what President Trump is doing. But yeah, there you have it.